How are you, Verdine?
I'm good. How are you? How's it going?
So happy to have you on the line. And
Thank you.
You've brought a lot of joy to my life.
Oh,
and
thank you. You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Really, you've been kind of a constant in the fabric of my upbringing.
Super. God bless you. That's super. That's super. Thank you so much.
I also want to offer my condolences on the passing of your brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. He was a great, great person, and if it hadn't been for him, none of this would be happening. None of this would be happening. So, we're here because of him.
Yes, and I feel like I'm just got done reading his book, My Life with Earth, Wind and Fire. It's incredible.
What did you think of it?
I feel so inspired, Verdine. I cried at the end, but I cried not through sadness, but almost through joy, because
absolutely.
Yes, I felt as if you see the story of a person who had who was in touch with his divine calling, and really made that happen. So, and some of the quotes in the book, actually, I pulled out because I love them so much. It's just about saying yes to your spirit and yes to whatever you choose to call God. I think that's a powerful message. So I was really, really touched by that.
He put everything. I was with him all the way to the end, all the way to the end. And as you probably read in the book, how close him and I are and were and will be always, because I'm pretty prominent in his book, because of our relationship, and what we went through together, as brothers, not only as bandmates but brothers, which is a deep relationship in itself outside of playing music, It's got a deepness to it, He put it all out there from his personal life to spiritually, musically, culturally, what was going on in the times, the challenges of what it took to put a group like this together, because there's always challenges and cultural influences. There's a lot to go on to put music together for people to receive it. And now for it to be sustained like this, it's probably just as popular now as it was when it first started in an interesting way.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I saw you. I had never seen you guys live, and I just recently saw you at Jazz Fest.
Oh, you saw the Jazz Fest, didn't I?
Yeah, I was at Jazz Fest.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I work with a youth group. I actually do radio with a youth group, and we were there covering some of Jazz Fest.
Right.
So,
you see all those people out there?
Listen, I have to say, when you go and you see your heroes and people that have been in the game a long time, there is sometimes that feeling like, well, I hope they're going to be as great as they are, as I've built them up to be in my memory and records. But I have to say, from the first note, you guys brought so much joy and so much power. And I looked around to see all these different kind of people and young people, and my kids, my students were there with me too, and they were vibing. It really is a testament to the power of that positive music and the positive energy that you guys exude, and to see that in action, there's something, that feeling of unity that I got.
Yeah.
People are just smiling from ear to ear. That's such a powerful accomplishment. So congratulations on that, and I thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask you, now, in the book, Maurice talks about his vision to build a band that represented spiritual truth and music as a medicine. Can you comment on that a little bit, on kind of the purpose of the group and your interpretation of that?
Well, my interpretation of it is it's something that he always wanted to do, and he wanted a group to play different styles of music. He wanted to have a group that everybody could relate to,
What was your view on the band, and what kind of was your goal and really your motivation, besides the obvious one of making music?
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, he wanted to have a band that everybody would like, and a group that could do different types of music and things like that. And for me, it was more of a process because I'm, much younger than him, 10 years younger. So I didn't, so I was sort of like learning. My thing was, wanting to be in a great band, be a great bass player, come to California. So those are my motivations first. And then once I kind of got to California, it started kind of coming to me because California being the freedom place that it is, the track of ideas, a lot of original ideas. Not to say they haven't come from different cities like New York or Detroit or Chicago, but California, has always been known for, way out ideas, getting people together, different types of music, movies, Silicon Valley, the internet, Yogananda, transcendental meditation. It's been known for quite a lot of different types of things,
So very much free and open. And you came from Chicago. So, and this was even before the internet. So that must have been quite a shock to your system.
Well, going to California at the time was like going to the moon, because California was not, a lot of people came here from Chicago. People came, actually Maurice was one of the first people to come to California because he had been here traveling with Ramsey Lewis. So he saw California. He really saw it, you know what I mean? And he saw what it was and what it could be and what he could do. So it was only after he came that a lot of the musicians came, later. Of course, there were people already out here, you know what I mean, of course. But there was a huge influx after he came out and saw, what the success of the band and all that stuff too.
Seemed like the perfect climate for him to really experiment and be free in the way that he wanted to be. So you stayed at the Landmark Hotel. Was that where you guys were?
That's right. We stayed at the Landmark Hotel. That's where Janis Joplin was there. We met Jimi Hendrix at a party there. There's a great manager named Shep Gordon who manages Alice Cooper. He was just starting his career. He lived there. So it was it was sort of the epicenter of music, of rock and roll, Hollywood, things like that,
So you were 19, 20 years old? It must have been
18,
blowing
19,
your mind.
19. Yeah, but it was good though. It was good though because it was fun, and I saw the people that I had read about or saw on television. I met Jimi Hendrix and he was cool. I met Buddy Miles. I met so many people, and then at that time you could go to a lot of concerts, and I went to see Miles Davis, and then I did this big festival with Billy Preston. So it was wide open. And you weren't bounded by age or race or status. It was kind of a mix, a hodgepodge, and we'd go to Johnny Weissmuller's health food store, which was quite different, quite different to what we grew up with in Chicago. I mean, you had in Chicago, but you had in different pockets. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's pretty interesting that you guys in the band were introducing in your music pretty revolutionary concepts like mysticism, hermeticism, astrology, meditation. Was there any time, because I know Maurice was your big brother, you were a kid essentially at the time. Was there any time when you were just like, oh man, I don't want to drink any more juice. I just want to have a hamburger and chase girls?
No. No, I didn't want to have a hamburger and chase girls. You want to have a carrot juice and chase girls. That's what was going on. Absolutely. No, because it was great. I became a better person. I became a hipper person. I became more of an aware person, and I became a musician too. I became a working musician. And then when people met me, when I came to California, I didn't look like a musician. You know what I mean? But after about a couple of years, people come up to me on the street and say, "You're a musician." Then that's when I kind of knew that I was headed down the right track.
And it's very cool that actually you had your brother to kind of look out for you.
Absolutely.
in that blood bond way to kind of keep you out of trouble.
Right. That's right. Because when you're young and you're talented, everybody wants to work with you. Everybody wants to be around young, talented people, but you don't know what kind of lifestyle they have. You know what I mean? In retrospect, and I did nightclubs in Chicago. In retrospect, I think when a younger person comes out to be in this particular business, I think it's important to have older people. You know what I mean? That way, while they're pursuing their success, and they don't lose themselves in the pursuit of it, and I lose myself in the pursuit of it because there was somebody there who was conscious, and he was very conscious of that, and responsible.
Yeah, he seemed like a very responsible person and a person who had like a good moral compass.
Absolutely.
Very cool, because this type of thing, I mean, it can be intoxicating. So it's very easy.
And it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it still is, when you're out there, and it's easy to do that. Like when you came a couple of weeks ago, it can be very intoxicating looking at all that and being around all of that, But, we have a lot of life experience, and we have a lot of successful experience and all that. So, we're actually controlling the audience and the narrative, that, what you see, what out there is what we created. You know what I'm saying? So we're moving the compass as we're playing music, and even backstage, it's our world. It's the whole total Earth and the Fire world, which was created, by Maurice. But you have to have a good moral compass if you're going to be in this any business today. But particularly in our business today, because everything's up close.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of high highs, a lot of low lows in the music business. Definitely.
Yeah, and they're public. They're public.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have, what you do is out there. You know what I'm saying? People are, they're part of your life, so they know your highs and they know your lows, which actually makes it more bonding too. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you read the book before the show, or did you read it after the show?
I read it after the show.
Okay, yeah, and so actually it gave you a better understanding about us. You had one way of how it was looking at it and hearing it and those memories and seeing all those people. Then you go back to the book and say, oh, wow, they really had a journey. And it makes you more, it actually gives you more compassion for us too, and more love for us too, and respect,
Sure. And there's always a tendency, when people are a public figure, anytime you put yourself out there, you also put yourself out there to, like, I guess what you would call today, quote unquote, haters. And it's very, very easy to criticize. But what was very inspiring, I found the book very inspiring. I keep going back to that word because it was very energizing for me to read about Maurice's journey. And I know that he was a very private man, but to have him spell it out, how difficult it was and how hard that he struggled. I mean, being in a band is not easy. I feel like being in a band is like being married to like 9 people. Right,
exactly.
Yeah, so it's an incredible accomplishment for what have you guys been 45, 47 years together? Right.
And then when you see us on stage, we look great, we look well, we're performing great. We're very comfortable up there in the midst of all those people. And then also too, those, be able to survive all those years at a certain level is a great accomplishment. And then the proof is in the pudding when we walk out there and you see all of those young people who weren't even born when we started.
That must be a trip. You're generational, which is awesome. So it's so very awesome. So what are the kind of things that you do to keep yourself grounded from, the hecticness of the tour life, or just grounded in general from the music game?
Well, for us, it's our game. So, you know what I mean? There's, so we don't have those kind of challenges of the music game per se, you know what I mean? Of what it is now, what it's going to be, or what it was, you know what I mean? We're sort of we're actually, to be honest, we're not really a band as much as we are a force. And what I mean by that, it's bigger than us. You know, we're just a cog in the wheel of something that we created that's out there all the time, even when we're not performing. You know, it's out there all the time in some form or another. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So we're not really a band is a group of people that do it and hope that people come and whereas with us, we know they're going to come. And we know that the music is playing as we speak somewhere. So it's a force, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that.
Right. So were you aware as a young man when you were doing your thing, when you guys were creating, were you aware of the magic and the resonance that you would have with this project?
Not initially. That came in stages, and I was busy trying to, you know, be good at music. That's what I was into. You know, that was my thing. I think Maurice was aware more than anybody because he created it and what it took to create that magic. You know.
So one of the things that Earth, Wind & Fire symbolizes to me is freedom. So when I listen to the records and when I heard you guys play, there's a type of a freedom that I feel just physically almost. And you guys smashed a lot of racial boundaries. I mean, you really did a lot of work in terms of changing the game musically, theatrically. And the music itself travels through many genres. It crosses many borders. Maurice did a lot to avoid being enslaved to the record companies financially and creatively. And I just wanted to know, I wanted to know a little bit about that. And was there a push from the record companies to keep you kind of ghettoized as a quote-unquote black band? And also, what do you think was the key to your crossover success?
Well, I think, first of all, Maurice had worked in record companies as a studio musician, so he knew how record companies worked. And fortunately for us, we were very lucky that you're working with people like Clive Davis, and, who gave us a lot of freedom. So we're not really bounded by that stuff, you know what I mean? And when we came along, you had, black divisions and white divisions, but the black divisions, it was good because you didn't have any divisions at all. You know what I mean? And because of black divisions, we were able to have a black radio. You had that's where urban radio came from, because you couldn't get those records played. And when they had the black divisions and black executives and black A&R people, that enabled to get a lot of a foothold in the business. Not only groups like us, you saw groups later like the Daz Band and the Commodores and all that stuff that were there. The foundation of that was laid then, because when we came on, in the beginning there were no black divisions, so they didn't know what to do with black music. So they didn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? And so for all its challenges, it had a lot of strengths too. You know what I mean?
So then, what was the moment when you guys kind of started crossing over to playing like the big stadium shows and really kind of having more of white audience, I guess, for the lack of a better word?
Well, I think, don't forget now, we were an opening act for like 3 or 4 years for people like John Sebastian, Uriah Heep, Rod Stewart and Faces. So those audience, Carlos Santana was the first one that brought us to Europe. He brought us to Europe and let us open up his tour. So a lot of those people saw us that normally wouldn't see a group of color. When we opened up a Carlos Santana, we were an opening act, but we had a number one album. That's what it was. But we were still an opening act because Europe didn't see a lot of African American groups.
Interesting. So you kind of changed too. Huh?
That's right. The only groups they saw were people like Fats Domino. They saw Little Richard. Those are the only kind of black groups they saw. They didn't see the new black groups like us with a different thing. You know what I'm saying? So those tours enabled those white audiences to see us. And that's how they saw us. That's how they saw us.
Cool. And then you consequently just blew everybody's mind. Pretty awesome. So you played for Obama, and I wanted to ask you just about your thoughts as an artist, given the current political situation. And I know different people have different ideas and philosophies on it. Do you think it's the duty of an artist to speak out politically?
Well, artists always have. They've always reflected what's going on. Artists have always spoken about what's going on in the culture. And of course, now, more than ever, artists are talking about the culture. You have Black Lives Matter, you have the women's groups, LGBT. You have all of these groups today, you know what I mean? And you had them then, too, but in a different form. You had the women's lib movement, you had the Vietnam movement, you had a lot of different movements, civil rights movement, Black Panthers movement. So really we are seeing the second octave of that, You play music, now we're at a higher C of it, But artists always did. They always speak to the time, and that's where art comes from. And change, as Obama talked about, is relevant. And change really happens from the bottom. Happens from the bottom.
Yeah, it has to. Absolutely. I agree with that. So, talking a little bit about, we spoke a little bit earlier about being a young man in the business. And I know that you have your Verdine White Performing Arts Center.
Right.
I want to know what sparked the urge to open that facility and the kind of things that you hope to impart to the young minds there.
Well, the one thing about it is, the young people, they are our future, and you got to give back. You got to give back because there's no way for them to grow unless you keep doors open for them. So it was inspiring, and we sent 2 young people to Berkeley, which is really super. And then when I was in the airport, I took so many pictures with young people. It's really cool, very cool. And the fact of it is that that they love you. They just want to meet you, and they ask you questions about the business and things like that. And I get a lot of that all the time. And I did before the show in New Orleans, I did a little interview thing with Ashley Kahn, and there were people there, and there were some young people there, and their questions are beautiful. Their questions are great. You know what I mean? And and they're actually picking up the mantle from their parents, and so they're cool, very cool, very cool.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, it's that important, like that next step, that next passing on the mantle, as you say, is so important.
Right.
I work with young people too, and so I get it. It's really exciting. So I also wanted to ask you, speaking of young people, do you have any young artists that you're really enjoying right now that you could share with our listeners?
Oh yeah, of course I love what's going on today. I'm loving Anderson .Paak. I'm loving his stuff. Kendrick Lamar. We did Bonnaroo with him and Chance, and I love Andrea Day. I love what she's doing. Of course we love what Bruno's doing. We love all of it. And what's happening? What's really different is that they're all different. All their styles are different.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? And I love what Chance did, which is he essentially did it on his own.
Right.
So, which is really powerful. And given the changing landscape of the music business, it's really encouraging that he's like, you know what, my music, and this is the way I'm doing it. And people sat up and paid attention. He had the right people around him, and it's really cool and really encouraging. And
when I was at the airport in Chicago a few months ago, I'm catching my plane, and Chance came up and said, Buddy, what's happening, man? What I mean? And I'm getting into my car, and somebody is calling me from their car, and it was Kendrick Lamar. I said, hey, man, and I said, Kendrick, stay right here. So I got my niece, my nephew. I said, come here, I want you to meet somebody with Kendrick Lamar. They were blown away. And I told my niece and nephew, I said, yeah. I said, yeah, now you know how cool I really am, because your people like me. Right.
That is so funny. You became the cool uncle immediately.
Absolutely, because they're heroes. They're uncles.
That's right.
Yeah.
So So we usually, how we do it on the Sweet Spot, we're a musical biography show. So say if you were in New York, you would come on and you'd bring like 9 songs that illustrate the arc of your life. But since you're all the way over there on that other coast, I wanted to ask you, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but it's just a general fun question.
Okay.
So I wanted you to name 3 songs. So one that represents your past, one that represents your present, and one that represents your hope for the future.
Oh, wow.
You can have a little time.
Okay, the past, it could be a lot of different songs, you know. Any song or just any song?
Any song, any song.
Okay, from the past. Wow, it's not one because I've been... Past, I put Head to the Sky.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay. Slash, That's Pretty Well on the B-side. Okay.
Okay.
We had the B-sides back in our day. All right. Okay. The present songs today. A mashup of all those people that I just named. Okay. Okay, a mashup of all their songs. You know, Kendrick, Chance. You know, a mashup of all those things.
Okay.
All those people. Okay, because mashups is what happened today.
Cool. Great. Yeah, hope for the future. Like a song to represent your hope for the future.
I think that song is still being written by all of us together.
Beautiful answer. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're all part of the fabric of life.
So we're writing it now.
So I know that you have a tour coming up with Chic, who coincidentally I just saw a couple of weeks ago as well.
Oh, you saw Nalan? Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. He did the We Are Family Foundation. They did a dinner, and Chic played. Kathy Sledge was up there.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a fire tour. Wow.
That's going to be great, too. That's going to be great.
It's going to be great, and I feel lucky that I saw both of y'all. Now I know with you two together, woo! That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. What we're going to do, we'll be at the Garden with Nile and us, and but we're doing another thing too. July 29th and 30th at Citi Field. It will be with us, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Journey. So we're going to do 2 nights at Citi Field in the stadium out there, and we're doing the same here at the Forum here in Los Angeles, and then we're doing the Nile Rodgers tour in Chic. So it's going to be great. And tomorrow I'm going to Tokyo tomorrow.
You're going to Tokyo tomorrow. Wonderful.
Tomorrow, yeah.
I know they must love you there. So listeners, look out for that tour, Chic, and Earth, Wind & Fire, the 2054 tour. What does the name 2054 stand for?
Because I was one of the people that were actually at Studio 54, we decided to name it 2054 to kind of give it a futuristic thing. Because, what happens is, in this interview I talked about, I met Jimi Hendrix and things like that. And so what I have to do when I'm talking to younger people, I always tell them, will you Google it? Google it, and because they might not recognize some of the things that I'm saying, and I don't want them to think he's been around so long. He met everybody. He met Abraham Lincoln. He met Hamilton. Because sometimes these names sound right. Studio 54 was a long time ago, right? That was like 100 years ago in people's minds.
Right.
So when you go back to the name, because you don't want to see like everything people see from the way in the past, right? Hamilton, Jefferson, Lincoln. You met those guys. You met all those guys. You met Frederick Douglass. You met all of those guys, right? So we said we better go to the future. You know what I'm saying? Give ourselves a little breathing room here. You know what I mean? So we said 2054. Yeah.
2054. The air is clear to create there.
Absolutely. Will give us enough breathing room,
There you go. So now what can we expect from the tour? Are you going to be flying through the air? Or are your days of flying?
I haven't done it in a while. I think I'm okay. I think I think I'm good. I think I'm good where I am for the moment.
I think your bass playing will be enough to levitate the audience.
I think I'm all right. I think I'm good to go. I think I'm golden.
Did you ever get stuck? I was thinking about that. Did you ever get stuck there? Like, was there ever a time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You get stuck. You fall. A lot of stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens. That's the show business part. A lot of stuff happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that long bass solo in the air. You're like, hey.
Well, it's like life. You go on the road, everything's cool. You catch a cold. That's what happens sometimes. The regular stuff. Getting enough sleep. All that kind of stuff. Regular stuff, life stuff. What I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And then, so it's been such a pleasure speaking to you, and I just wanted to ask you in closing. So you've given us a lot over the years, and once again, thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the most important thing music has given you?
Oh, it's given me a life, It's let me operate on my highest level and operate in my gift. That's what it's done for me. And then the people that I'm able to give love back, It's given me love so I can give love back. That's what music is. Unconditional love, yeah.
Thank you so much, Verdine. God bless you. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much. All right. See you in New York.